This is our 2025 trip to Malta. I'm so excited for this trip. So we're heading off with Ryanair, which is definitely not my favourite flight to go with.
What are you thinking, Lindsay?
A pearl spritz or an pearl twist.
What do you rate it? I'm on the marks and I'm chasing it with a beer.
So that night we stopped off at the closest place to us, which was this Chinese across the street. It was fantastic food, really enjoyed it. Right, so this is the first day in Malta, and we're here already yesterday, and we spent the day and had a bit of a crack. So pretty much what I'm doing now is tidying up for Lindsay because she's a very messy woman. So the plan for today is basically to go out and do a wee bit of an explore out here. So we're going to go and take a wee peek. So come and check this out here. So this is where we're staying down in Malta. You can see there. So the nicest view is what we've got down here over the bay. This is gorge. So it's all lovely and crispy down here. Look at that. How stunning is that? So we're going to do a wee dander. We're going to do a wee dander down along here today, and then we're going to walk up this way as well, take a wee peek. And then this is a wee room tour as well. This is what we've got. So a wee bit of a dining area down in here, and then randomly a toilet, which is a terrible idea to have near a kitchen area. Basic kind of kitchen, and then downstairs we've got where Lindsay's hiding around. So let's see if we can find her. So this is her wee room here that she changes and gets ready in. Hello. And then this is where we're staying, which is down in the bottom. Which is nice. And just needs a wee bit of a tidy up, and then we're good to go. But it's like a 3-story house. Not the best of view there, I think, but that there is nice. That's as much of that as I'm going to tidy today. So what I will say about Malta so far is that it's hot. So this is a little marina which is just down from where we were staying, and it was beautiful. Like every time you looked at this place, it was just pretty to look at. So Lindsay's warned me on this trip not to record too much of her, but I do record quite a lot of everything that I record, so I may as well just record a lot of her, because at some point she's going to be old and she'll look back on this and thank me for it. So Lindsay's warned me that we're not allowed to be sharing much video on this trip because she's a very secretive lady. It's so warm. I think I'm going to spend like most of my time here just complaining about the heat because it's so hot. So the heat is definitely a feature in this country. It's probably one of the hottest places that I've been to. And us Northern Ireland people, we're not really made for this type of weather. But these guys here party like it's 1995. Like this place is just stunning. It's so rich and opulent as well. So down here, I'm going to name it Millionaire's Corner, because down in this part of the town is all these fancy yachts. And when I say fancy yachts, we're talking like 4, 5, 6, 7 million pound yachts all bumped up against each other. And then of course we got lost and I had to walk back exactly the way we came, back up to the top. So then we went the other direction and we went down to the right side of the bay, and on here there's a lot of people like frolicking around in the water, having fun, enjoying life, and it's pretty busy, but it's very, very beautiful. There's loads of beautiful buildings to look up at. There's lots of nice places to stop off at, and this is one of them. We stopped off here for a lovely glass of Chablis and some oysters.
Look, the foods.
Okay. First time ever.
Oh.
I don't know. But this is
So oysters are wasted on Lindsay, but I really enjoyed them. This dog, look at it. Imagine bumping into that thing, it would murder you. This was my one saving grace of the island, is that they sold brewdog everywhere. So no matter where you went, and I made sure I got myself plenty of them. Nice and icy. This little place was lovely. We stopped off here just before going in for our food, and Lindsay got a couple of mosquito bites here, pretty sure. But we had some lovely cocktails just ahead of going in for some
nice?
food.
Yeah, it's lovely. Is that yours, can we see?
What is it?
What?
What is it?
This is a ginger cloud, and whatever this is in the middle. Oh, it's an ice ball.
Oh, it's ginger ale?
It's not, it's a ginger ice. So there's less liquid in it than you know.
I've never heard of ginger ale, but Lindsay obviously has.
There she is.
So little did she know that she was getting bit by mosquitoes at this very instant. But thankfully I didn't get bit, so that makes a big difference. But this is the food that we ended up with, a place that was absolutely stunning. I don't know why I didn't record all the rest of it. It was absolutely delightful. This is the view in the evening, which is lovely. We went out for a little bit of a clubbing session, and then the next morning we took a taxi up the road. And the one thing I have to say about taxis is it is so well done. Everywhere you go, this boat service absolutely works, and it's basically just jump in the cab. You've already paid for your trip, and it just works like Uber, so it's just so nicely done. So this is Valletta, which is an absolute stunner of a location, and I must say this is probably one of the highlight cities to come and see if you're ever visiting anywhere in Europe. So at the top of here, it's just filled with museums, beautiful churches, loads of little windy little streets, and of course a lot of tourists all in their little trains all toasting around. And because it's so popular, it's beautiful. This little garden here was free. You could just walk through it. It was called Balcara Gardens Top, something like that, something random. And this is where they shoot all the guns every day. We didn't hang around to see the guns, but it's stunning. So all the big cruise ships, they all float up this, and they unleash their cruise ship people up into a wee special lift, which takes them right up into the top here, where we were standing. And they just suppose just fill the whole city up, and they all come up this one big elevator which takes them right up to this section. There's the elevator there. Absolutely class little system, but this place must get super busy. Thankfully we came at a decent time, and it was first thing in the morning that we were here. And when I say first thing in the morning, it is so hot, and you just have to wait your turn for little photograph opportunities like here. So right here is a lovely wee spot. Look at that. Where would you get it? So then once we walked around there, went and booked ourselves a ticket for the tunnels. So I heard a whole lot of things about Malta having like these really good like war experiences and lots of stuff about World War II. So we booked that, but we needed to kill a bit of time. So we down through the rest of the town, just took a look around. So all these wee streets, look at them, they're stunning. You just walk around and just take it all in. There's little people eating in, not little people like small people, but there's people just sitting eating in all these little spaces, and little doorways, and everything is just, it's so colourful, it's so hot, and all you want to do is sit down and have a nice little cold glass of beer. So we're down in a wee like long street with loads of steps. Absolutely beautiful. My brother was here before and he said it was amazing, and he wasn't wrong. It's actually really nice. Lindsay's doing this weird kind of walking thing down the steps. I don't know if you can see her here. So Valletta, it seems like you could spend probably 2 or 3 days here in the city just wandering the streets and seeing all the different sights. It seems like there's 1,000 things to do in it, and it takes you to probably know what's going on. There's walking tours you can do in the evenings and during the day. There's food tours, there's wine tasting tours, there's all sorts of stuff you can do. And then you can go and see some of these lovely big churches or chapels. I don't even know what they're called, but I tell you what, they love all their nuns and all their priests. They're everywhere, dotted all through the city. And I actually have a feeling that the British played a big part in actually developing all this and making everything like as spectacular as it is. And since then, they haven't really kind of kept it in good repair, but I suppose it's expensive. So we walked around. I spotted a little IPA pub, which I knew that I was going to come back to later on, but we went right down almost to the shore. And at the shore, you didn't want to go back up again because there was a nice breeze there, whereas when you're in these streets, you just don't get the breeze, and it's just so hot, and all that I could think of was water. It is so hot in this place and so humid. But like all the little streets are just amazing. Every door is a piece of art to me, and you could just wander these streets for ages. I got my protein, my water into me, and then finally we went back up to the war tunnels.
We could never take Bell.
It's trying to make it a bit prettier.
So the war tunnels themselves were actually really interesting, and you got to see like where people would have slept in all these little places to the right here, and they were very cramped, and all I could imagine was how hot this place would have been in the peak of summer and how smelly it would have been with all the guys who probably weren't getting washed back then as well. So it's an impressive fort, and I don't know why Malta decided that they needed 16 different forts all built around here, because they're so well built and put together, nothing would be breaking into them. So we went on the tour. The guy kind of brought us on like an outside part first to get us extra sweaty in these helmets, and then showed us a tree that he was very proud of, and then brought us back inside the tunnels. He showed us like the big ships and stuff like that as well, but these tunnels are probably the important bit, which is built all for the Second World War, for basically to control all the Air Force and the Navy and all the gun placements. And it's very interesting. So you got to hear about like all the different like gunpowder rooms and things like that. This is the special tree that the man had the absolute horn for, so we got to see that. Its roots dig away down like 6 meters or something like that, and he was very excited about that. But the bay itself is beautiful. Look at the size of this place. That's just fort after fort after fort, and it's a really lovely wee spot to come and visit. So this gets my thumbs up. The guide was pretty friendly, he was funny, and a bit of a weird disjointed tour actually, because it had like a bit on like this and a bit on that, but otherwise very interesting seeing where all these guys would have been sleeping and how tight their quarters were. And then he brought us into like the actual war planning rooms then after here, which was probably the most interesting part of the whole tour. So you got to see like where all these guys would have been planning and doing all the shipments and putting all their gun placements in. These are the names of all the guns here, and these are the actual guys that were working in these rooms. So that's pretty impressive, and you can't not look back on this and think this is an amazing spot. So this is like the main like planning space, and apparently this here had to all be restored because in the aftermath of the war this place just went to ruin and nobody cared about it, so all this was all left to ruin, and they'd graffitied and done poo-poo up walls and stuff like that, so they weren't too happy about it, but they've restored the place and they've put in like all the stuff to make it beautiful. These are like the original maps as well, which are very, very impressive to the guy. They weren't that impressive to me, and I actually just thought like a map's a map, but they're old, they're special, they're made probably way before the war was ever made as well, and they're pretty old, so don't lean on them or touch them, which I went to do, and Lindsay shouted at me because she likes shouting, or she is a wee shouter. So we went back into Valletta then and dandered around in the absolute heat, and it got to the point where we found this fountain and we went and stood at the fountain, and I just wanted to jump into it, but Lindsay got up, got a wee spray of water in her face, and then said that's enough of that. So we head to this place now. This is the one place that I was really excited to find, which is a tap room which done all different IPA beers.
So we ended up in the wee IPA bar, which I'm delighted about. Look at this, I've got IPAs. And just discovered that Bell has stolen my story.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's raging about, but we've done the whole wee tour, and it's fantastic, but I'm more excited about drinking these beers than anything else. This is so hot. About they hot, but
I would say, what do you have to
this first, but I'm looking at these one, which I'm going to have next, so we'll see what happens. Dave, so I'm out here in a wee IPA bar in the middle of Malta. Look at this. Bar.
very close.
2 IPAs in, and it's roasting, absolutely boiling here.
So we had 2 IPAs and then headed off back into the city again.
Dave, you told me it was called Desserts in Scotland. You lied to me.
So once all that was done and dusted, we headed back on the ferry back to where we hailed from, which is over the other side of a very small little boat journey. It doesn't take long, I think like maybe 6 or 7 minutes and you're across again. And then that night we went out, got a couple more drinks, we had a couple more little spaces, and you can get drinks basically in every street corner and every part of the strip as you're walking along. This place here was banging. The guy was just banging out the tunes. And I think a lot of these little beach bars are aimed at this type of crowd here, which is what we call the Sodom and Gomorrah type of crowd. So it's people basically, if you turn left from where we were rather than turn right, you hit this part of the strip, which is just mental. It's just wall to wall madness. It's banging. There's students and teens and everybody all off their heads on drugs, drinking, doing all sorts of stuff that we basically didn't want to hang around to find out. But it was worth a visit just to walk through it and see what it's like. But this place kicks everybody out at around 4 a.m. This is the actual sweat that drips just from being outside. Look at that. Look. Soaking. So my one nemesis of this whole trip was the heat and humidity. It was just so hot. I haven't been used to heat like this in a long time, which was only remedied by having lovely icy cold beers. And when I say icy cold, I put these things into the freezer until the point where they're just about to turn into ice. And then it only took about 2 minutes in the heat, and this would have been back into a warm beer again. So it's not for me. It's just too hot. But if you were to come back at maybe a time that's not peak summer, this place is an absolute gem. So this is a place that's up on a hilltop, and it was the original, like the proper city of Malta back in the day, and it was attacked by like the Ottoman and all the different types of Spaniards and French and all that there. So everybody's all had a go at it, but this is a beautiful little place to come to. There's no traffic inside it, and there's no cars parked up, so you can dander around. There's little horse and carts floating around doing their thing, taking tourists everywhere, but they call it the silent city because there's so many streets that are just silent. So you just take it in and walk through it and just enjoy the moment. So this is the wee streets of Medina, which is absolutely stunning so far, and it's all like little cobbled streets, little horse and carriages all flying around. So like, if you're going to come here, make the trip, this is one that to come in the evening because it's a wee bit nicer, but my goodness is it nice. So you just need to watch out for the horses, because the horses probably won't stop for you if you're going to be a bit of a tourist. So we wandered around. There's got the little kind of touristy spots selling souvenirs and stuff like that. The thing that I was most interested in finding was somewhere that had something cold, because again, these streets, there's no wind, there's no nothing, it's just warm. But what it is absolutely stunning for is taking like really nice images and lovely little pieces of video. And I had an absolute ball in it, because this is a photographer's dream. You can come here, you can spend a bit of time, and it's hard not to take a good picture. Even that sound is amazing. You just need to be careful, because those things probably do want to run you over. But everywhere you look, they've got like beautiful little pieces. So Game of Thrones was filmed here because obviously it's just so nice. And the little chapels that are inside as well, like look how cool this place is, and imagine all the stories, the weddings, the deaths, the sadness, the happiness that's happened inside these walls. It's just stunning, and it always makes me think about the people that's lived here. So we've wandered around, got a couple more nice little snaps in around the city. We walked the walls of the city, a wee bit like Derry, brought us back into Northern Ireland, and it didn't mean to. And then once we were done, we then went on the hunt to find somewhere that had a nice cold beer. And unfortunately, you'll get hit and miss whenever you come on the little tourist traps like here. You're going to hit some places that are going to be great, and other places that are basically just serving warm beer and taking in as many tourists as they can get. So it's important to maybe do a wee bit of research there and find the one that suits you. But you're going to be rewarded by a lovely little spot no matter where you go. So in this case here, this was bar 1, where we went to 2 bars, and bar 1 was nice. Like, look at this for a view. You can't get this back in Northern Ireland. So even if it's not the best, it's got amazing views, and it's really quaint, and you can imagine here at night it just must have such a class little vibe. It's beautiful. So once we'd seen and done all that, I said to Lindsay, this is going to be me and her whenever we're older. So once we've seen it, the whole city, we decided it was time for food, and we'd booked this little gem. This is probably the highlight of my whole trip. I love food, and we met the chef, and he basically walked us through everything in this tasting menu, and the taste, the flavours, the smells, the food. It was different stuff that you can't get back in Northern Ireland, and the staff were so nice, the wine was so good, and the food was fantastic. So it looks like they're small plates, but there was a lot of eating in this thing. There was wild boar, there was pickled fishes. There was all sorts of stuff. So the owner brought me around here, and this is him actually giving me a tour of the rest of his restaurant and tell me about his story. So he introduced me to his kitchen team as well, said hello to them.
Hey guys.
And he walked me through his wine cellar, let me see all the different types of wines he had, and told me his dreams about how he wants to grow the place. And
could be the wine, could be the heat, it could be anything, because I'm out of Northern Ireland and it's wild. But this place here is absolutely amazing. We've had one of the best meals I've had in a long time.
And I really do mean that. This, like duck, everything on the plate was so well cooked, so well presented. The desserts, which I don't normally go for, were absolutely stunning. And the wine was really, really good. So it's hard to fault a place like that, especially whenever it's off the beaten track. You found it almost by accident, and it turned out to be a real gem. So this is back into Medina then for the evening. We thought that we had to come and see this place at night because it's got lovely little like lanterns and it's very atmospheric. So you can see this is why Game of Thrones was filmed here. It's got so much charm, so much prettiness to it, and every corner you turn, it's just take a photograph, take a bit of video, take a photograph, take a bit of video. It's just so nice. Lindsay unfortunately had a couple of drinks in her, so she ran on ahead and she was super giddy, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, she's going to be in a terrible state in the morning, but thankfully she wasn't. She was just full of mischief for once, because this woman's the anti-mischief woman. So she entertained me, actually just watching her running around these streets all full of happiness and taking photographs. Like your concentration.
You're going to be a fuck. Oh my goodness, the drink is in. So this is Medina, and we're here tonight again, actually, after having fantastic meals. So if you're going to visit this city, this is the time to come and do it. It's at night time, whenever all the tourists go away, all the way annoying people like me go away, and absolutely nothing to do. The only thing is you need to stay quiet, because I'm going to piss everybody off that lives here. But what a wee place. Look at this. Like, you'll be right. It's all quiet.
So unfortunately my mic had not been working the best while we were away on this break, and this is why I'm voiceovering the majority of this video, because it let me down, but it won't let me down next time. This then was a lovely little highlight. We went and had the massage in the Marriott Hotel. I can't film me getting a massage because it wouldn't be right, but it was a great little experience. So then we lay on the beach and just chilled, soaked in the sun and the sand and the surf, and it was so hot, my goodness. So then we went out that night for... This is a scallop. I don't even know what it is. It's got like chocolate on top. And Lindsay, what have you got?
I have got I've forgotten the name. I want to say...
Lindsay's been on a drink.
Was it a gorgonzola?
Is it?
Gorgonzola? What's gorgonzola? There's Guinness in it as well.
Oh yeah, it's Guinness, yeah. This is some random thing with maybe chocolate or something, so I'll try one. Oh yeah, it's chocolate. Yeah.
Okay.
It's lovely, but it's so random. And the wee chocolate pieces.
Nice.
So that place was pretty pricey compared to the night before, and it just couldn't hold up to the night before, but like the food was still stunning. It was lobster, you had octopus tentacles, and it was just great. Here was absolutely recommended. It's a little IPA bar stroke pizza place, and they had the best IPA beers, all my favourites, all chilled to perfect temperature. They had amazing pizzas, and had I have known of here maybe like a couple of days sooner, I probably would have been here sooner. Now this is the Inquisitor's Palace. I was so excited about coming here because I love how the church used to torture people, and how they actually had a place dedicated to torturing people and imprisoning them and getting them to conform to Christianity or to whatever they want them to conform to. And I was so excited to see all the horrible torture devices and everything that they've done here, see all like the different cardinals and what they get up to. But my goodness, every room here was torture. It was just so hot. There was no air conditioning in any of these rooms, and you were walking through it. It gave you an authentic feel of how warm this place would have been back in the day. And I don't know how these people survived in weather like this. It's just so hot, and it's so beautiful actually that they had this whole palace that was dedicated to torturing people. And like, if the walls could speak, I'm sure this place would have the most horrific tales and the most sad tales, and like tales of everything, of like crime and stuff that's just unjust and bad and opulent and good and evil. It's got it all in these walls. And I'm sure if you were a fly on the wall over all the years watching all the different secrets being told, this place would have been amazing. But we visited in the height of summer, and it was so hot that this black shirt that I had on was stuck to every part of my body. So don't look at me and think that I'm enjoying myself. This was an endurance. It wasn't a treat. But I told myself that I was here and I was going to see it all. So we walked through every room and recorded everything. This, I can only imagine, was like the saddest room in the whole place, because you would have been assigned if you're guilty or not guilty in it. And goodness knows what these boys would have done to unsuspecting people that they just didn't like. So very interesting, and there's something dead evil and sinister about places like here. Even though that's done in the name of following Christianity, there's always people involved in it, and there's always nasty stories and popes and people vying for power. So for me, it's a place I was really excited to come and see, and I wish I could come back here and read stuff and figure out a bit more of what went on and how it was all done. But it's worth a visit. This looks like my brother Dave, and this looks like my brother Andrew, and it made me laugh. This looks like Jesus, as you know, and I don't know, like, imagine walking up a street and seeing this boy coming at you. There's just something so wrong with them. And the any amount of different figurines of Jesus, and then this is the wee bed that the Inquisitors would have slept in opulence, so-called opulence, because if it had been that warm I would have died being an Inquisitor. The thing about being an Inquisitor is that you become a cardinal if you were good at it. So a lot of the ones that were really good became cardinals, which then would have lined you up to be Pope. These are the little gondolas that could take you across here and take you to the other like different parts of Valletta. And they're so cheap. They were like £3.50 each, and we end up taking it later on after this next trip. But this trip here, my goodness, this is probably where I was at my hottest, and I actually feared for my life, because sweat was coming out of parts of me that I didn't even know could create sweat. At the sweat on my face actually dripping from my nose. Look. So this is another one of the forts, and we got to go and visit it, and it's got so much to offer.
So we're up at the top in Malta, and so we're up at the top in one of these forts. We'll call it Fort D'Angelo. It's probably not. I'll put the proper name below. And it is the hottest day. My Northern Ireland skin is not made for this, and I'm sweating in places I've never sweated before. But it's actually worth it to come up here and see just how amazing this little place was. So when you think back like hundreds of years ago, whenever you were stationed here as like a naval base, this place must have been absolutely amazing to live and work in, because look at this. Look at what's going on here. Absolutely amazing. So yes, you had to do a wee bit of work. You were sweating in your uniform and things like that, and probably sweating a bit more than I was, but to work and live here must have been absolutely stunning. And there's so many people from like even Northern Ireland who would have came over here in the war and worked here, and what a spot.
So you can see a lot of these ferries all fly out, and they're all going out this way to Gozo, which is not going to happen on our trip this time, but I would love to go just to see what it's like. So if I ever do come back here, I definitely would want to go and see Gozo. I'd want to go and see some of the other places on the island, because it's actually such a beautiful place. And this is the top of the fort where probably the officers would have all resided in. So you've got like a chapel and a lovely little villa that they would have all stayed in. And like, imagine staying here at any point. It's just beautiful. You would have really, really enjoyed being stationed here. And everywhere I went, I was just amazed at just the quality and how well everything was preserved. So this is a little gondola thing, £3.50. Where would you get it? We smiled ear to ear whenever we got on this thing, because one, it saved us an expensive taxi ride. It saved us an hour and 40 minutes off a dander by foot, which would have killed me, by the way. And we got out on the sea like pirates. It was great. Got to see all the yachts, got to see all like the luxury like super yachts as well, which are like, they're just millions of pounds worth.
Just in here, just straight up. See, or a ferry or whatever.
So on every holiday there has to be your worst meal, and unfortunately we found it in Valletta. So I always like absolutely adore ChatGPT for telling me everything I need to know about a city and a place and where to get nice food. And it let me down here because it told me that this was one of the best places in Valletta to come and eat. And maybe it is, but somebody's been telling this robot GPT little fibs, because this guy was empty. He had one other person dining in the place. It was cockroaches walking on the ground. It was just horrendous. The next day we went to this beautiful little restaurant and had a lovely breakfast, and it was the only breakfast we'd had the whole time while we were away. And then we dandered on to this place which is called The Point, which is, I forget the name of the town, but it's a beautiful little spot where you can come and do all the shopping that your heart would want. And I think it's probably like the shopping part on the island, like way better than Valletta, way better than any of the other places that we'd been to. And it was lovely. So we had a couple of drinks once we got back home, watched these fireworks going off. For some reason they set them off every day and you can't see them. And this boy here probably did get to see them, but we didn't get to see them. We never got to see them at any stage.
Okay, so that's the end of our 7-day trip, and if this is the type of video that you're interested in and you want to see what like a normal day-to-day person does whenever they come and visit any place, I'm not a spectacular traveler. I don't do anything that's spectacularly amazing either, but what I do is make sure that if I'm going somewhere, I'm going to try out everything I can try while I'm there and do it on a decent budget. Don't waste a ton of cash and have fun. Don't stress yourself out either over traveling to see absolutely everything, because if you do that, you become this kind of like have to see everything phobia. I don't even know if that's a thing, but what you end up doing is wasting all your time trying to take every single box and you have a terrible time. So for me, there's a mix between having a nice time, getting away, spending time with friends or family or your wife or your partner, if ever it's going to be. And if you do that, you'll absolutely have a ball. And the main thing about traveling to any place is to have fun and do. So the main thing that I can give you is that if you're traveling to any city, any destination, the main thing that you can do is just have a crack and have a bit of fun. And make sure you don't overblow all your cash and spend all your money, and don't try to do absolutely everything that's on the list. Just do what's right for you. So like, if you've enjoyed this, you've enjoyed watching what we get up to, we're going to do this. We're going to do this much more, and there's going to be a lot more videos where you can see some of the little city breaks, some of the little hotel breaks that we do away through Ireland and through the rest of Europe. And if that's your sort of thing and you like this type of video, drop me a wee subscribe. It will actually help me feel like I'm doing something that did waste my whole holiday recording on a gimbal looking like an absolute crap. So I'm Chris.
And this is the last supper of the whole trip. So 7 days, 7 great meals, other than that one that we had in Valletta, but it wasn't awful. It just wasn't the best of all the meals. But this one here was a little standout one. We had a fish platter.
Look at all the food that Lindsay's ordered just for herself.
So we had all sorts here. We had tuna steak, we had swordfish, we had mussels, we had calamari, we had these little fish cakes, and lots of different types of dips and breads. It was just lovely, and right on the water's edge. So this was like the final supper, and it was really nicely done, and the staff were nice. We had this weird Maltese dessert which I wouldn't rate, but just sitting watching all the wee fishermen come in and bringing in the stuff that you were probably eating, it's lovely. It's just such a lovely vibe, and it ended our little holiday perfectly. So back to children, back to the real world, and back to the hustle and bustle of the grind, to the next little trip that we're going to do with the girls, which is in Germany. Looking forward to it. See you in that one too.